years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hello, everybody. This is Alex Bennett. It is the Ramble. It's a Wednesday night, and we'll be here until midnight Eastern Daylight Time. If you're listening to us live, if you can hear that, we're probably live. Well, we could be recorded. Who knows? Anyway, hey, listen, every now and then we get somebody new to talk to us, and a lot of times we like to go back and find people we haven't talked to in a long, long time, and that's the particular situation in this case, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to a person who I haven't talked to. How long has it been, Steve Kravitz?
Oh, 20 years maybe?
20 years?
Maybe more?
Maybe more. Let's see here. When was the last time you did my show in San Francisco?
Well, it had to be 85.
85, and I left 85? No.
Well, that's what I remember is the last time I was living in San Francisco, because that's when I was a finalist in the competition.
Right. So 85, I left in 97. Was it that early? Gosh.
Alex, the thing is in the early 80s in San Francisco.
Uh-oh. We lost him. Folks, let me go back and call him again. Let me see what happened. I don't know what happened.
Alex?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
No.
I was
still not.
Don't move. Did you move?
I haven't.
Really?
Alex, I have not moved.
Wow.
I'm actually in my pajamas on the couch.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll fix this up in post,
Right.
But anyway, let's see here. Where were we?
So I was saying that in the 80s, that was the beginning of the comedy boom. Late 70s, early 80s, right?
Yeah, comedy boom in San Francisco, yeah.
Yeah, and I really believe that our group, the group that ended up playing with you on the air, were probably the best and the closest comics, as a group that I've ever encountered.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Although they say that Boston had a pretty good scene.
Well, what it was, Alex, it's kind of like San Francisco, you went to L.A. After you learned the craft, and in Boston, you went to New York.
Right.
They were the two feeder cities.
Right. But although, believe it or not, Boston fed San Francisco quite a bit. I mean, we got people like Tom Kenny and Bob Goldthwait, who came out from there. What's his name? The comic who just died. See, my mind's going. Huh?
Comic that just died?
Yeah. Or a couple of years ago, maybe. But anyway, Kevin Meaney.
Oh, yeah. Jesus. And Warren Thomas.
Warren Thomas didn't come from Boston, but Meaney did.
No, not at all.
Yeah, Meaney did.
Not at all.
We lost.
He came from another planet.
Well, how many people have we lost out of that group?
Oh, not to guess, I would say probably maybe a third.
Are dead?
A lot of them are dead. You got to remember, Alex, we're all seniors now.
Yeah, you're right. How old are you now?
I'm not telling. Thanks for asking.
Well, you were a kid when I met you.
Well, I'm 63 now.
Okay, well, that's not bad, because I'm 79 going on 80, pal.
Good for you. God bless you.
Everybody says that. Good for you. What do you mean? All I had to do was keep breathing. It was no great talent,
well, some people don't do that. Some people choose not to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
You're still just as funny as you were. I love the voice. I love the timing. So listen, you kind of, if I can bring this up, you kind of disappeared. you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't until you, I think, showed up on my radar here that I knew even where to get a hold of you.
Right.
What happened?
Right. I got very sick for a long time.
Yeah. You say very sick.
You know.
How do you describe very sick?
Just in the past year, I've had 4 surgeries.
Oh, jeez. On what?
On my brain. No. My stomach. I had gallbladder removed, and I had gallstones.
Yeah.
And a stent put in. I had that done like 3 times.
Yeah. What?
Just a pain in the ass. And I don't know if you know this, but the medical profession, God bless them, they gave me neuropathy in both my feet and my hands.
I have neuropathy in my feet, but it's just because I got a spine condition at this point, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And mine was medically induced.
Oh, boy. I know a guy who we have on the show regularly. It wasn't his paralysis was medically induced. He went in for an operation. He came out basically a cripple, you know?
Right.
Do we use that?
Me, it was it was psych meds, and I was over medicated and under monitored, and I had a psychotic break.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I spent 2.5 months in the hospital.
When was that?
2012.
2012. Two months, you say, in the hospital. Now, was this bedridden hospital or was this slightly crazy hospital?
Oh, more than slightly crazy. And the worst part, Alex, is I was in there for 2.5 months. For the first 2 months, I had no idea where I was, why I was there, and who I was.
Wow. Wow.
You know how scary it is to look in the mirror and not know who's looking back?
I have no idea about that. I many times I've looked in the mirror and wished someone else were there, but, you know.
Preferably a blonde.
Yeah, exactly. But, geez almighty, you really went through it. Well, but the thing, when I'm saying you disappeared, it seems like one day you just disappeared. I mean, that you just went off the radar, off the comedy radar.
Right. It was after I shot a series for Sci-Fi in '99 that my illness got worse. You know what I mean? I really wasn't able to work.
When you're saying illness, it was a mental thing, right?
Yes. I'm bipolar.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Well, first of all, Alex, I was diagnosed as manic depressant when I was like 17.
Okay.
And then apparently some movie star got it, and we all became bipolar.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not sure.
Yeah. Is that better than monopolar?
You know what? I think that's just called depressed. So are you still in San Francisco?
No. I'm in New York City. I've been living in New York City for, God, since 2004. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, well, good for me. Again, you know, it's like breathing. I mean, it's nothing I had to do. It was something that happened. You know, I decided to come out here because some people remembered who I was. And I got hired to go to work at Sirius XM, and then after almost 10 years, they fired me. So, you know.
Yeah, but you're used to that.
I'm used to that. And, you know, at my age, you got to get used to getting fired because nobody wants old people, right?
No shit.
You know,
no shit.
It's like we're completely thrown off the radar. Now, here's the thing. So you were bipolar, and it affected you were doing movies. You had gone in. You had matriculated into movies. You were in, for instance, we were so happy for you. You were in a Clint Eastwood film, Sudden.
Right.
What was it called? Sudden
Impact.
Sudden Impact. If you look at the group of bad guys, he's one of them. He's the punk-looking kid. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you were you were in Howard the Duck.
Right.
Which, you know,
and
a lot
I was in Woman in Red and Mr. Saturday Night and The Animal and The Hot Chick and multiple others.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Tell them the story about The Lady in Red, because you say you did The Lady in Red, and you did do The Lady in Red, but you weren't in The Lady in Red, right?
That's correct. I actually never got in front of the camera.
Really?
I was in my dressing room smoking a doobie.
Yeah. Getting ready for your big scene.
My big scene, and I was supposed to shoot like noon on a Monday. They didn't get to me till like 4 on a Wednesday, and then they just said, we're not going to shoot that scene.
And tell them what happened in the aftermath.
Well, they put me in the credits, so I keep getting residual checks.
You didn't.
You gotta love show business, Alex. You gotta love it.
I thought you had shot the scene. My remembrance was, and they cut it out. But now I do remember you telling us you didn't even film anything. And then we go to the movie Lady in Red, and there in the credits, if anybody ever sees Lady in Red, there's Steve Kravitz.
Right.
Well,
and Mr. Saturday Night.
Yeah, which
they
was
took my MTV spot.
Okay, so you did something on MTV, and then they bought that, and then you were in the clip in Mr. Saturday Night, which was a thing about comedy that Billy Crystal did, right?
And Billy Crystal is sitting in his living room watching TV, and I come on, and he says, this guy's not dressed for comedy, he's dressed for a felony. And then he invited me to the rap party, which said, the invite said, you and another genius are invited to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So did you go to the party?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you
and Crystal couldn't have been nicer to me.
Yeah. Well, you had a movie career going, okay?
Yeah.
And you had a comedy career going. And I got to tell you something. Right. I'm serious when I say this. I don't know how sick you've been. I don't know how many operations you've had, whether they've removed every part of your body except for your brain. But I do know this. You're very funny right now.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
And I think that is very important. But, psychologically, what kind of place are you in? I mean...
Well, Alex, I'll tell you, in April, I weighed 115 pounds.
Now, you're a short guy, so 115 pounds, I want to tell people on...
No, I look like a concentration camp victim.
Okay, all right, okay.
And now I'm up to 150.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm healthy. I'm healthy as I can be. I take my meds, and I'm ready to go back to work.
Yeah.
First thing I got to do is I'm going up to Jokesters tonight in Vegas. You know, I live in Boulder City.
Boulder City.
Population 1,200.
Yes, and most of them are inside the dam.
1,200, and apparently I am the entire Jewish population in Boulder City.
Wait a minute, let me explain Boulder City to people, because Boulder City was a city that never existed and then was built one day to house the people who were building Boulder Dam, which then became Hoover Dam, and I think it's back. Is it back to Boulder Dam again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How did, of all the places to wind up, how did you wind up in Boulder, Nevada? Boulder City, Nevada?
Well, first of all, I needed to increase the Jewish population.
Mm-hmm, that's good.
Second of all, Pearl had followed Carl LeBeau here.
Yeah.
And LeBeau, showed him around and whatnot, and then Pearl asked me to come out. They said there was a good stand-up scene going on here, and that's why I moved here. Plus, rent was really cheap. And, when I was living in L.A., it was a studio apartment. Now I can at least say, Alex, I'll be in the other room.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. But now, you say you went there for comedy. Nobody thinks Boulder City is the town of comedy. It's not really Boulder City that's the town of comedy. But near you is what?
I'm 20 minutes from Vegas.
Yeah, but the other city.
Well, Henderson?
No, the one where they have they have a bunch of casinos, a lot of casinos, and they tried to make it into Laughlin. So was that where Pearl was going to play?
No, Pearl lives in Vegas.
Yeah, I know Pearl lives in Vegas because we talk to him every couple of weeks.
And him and Carl live in the same apartment building.
Oh, okay. All right. I see. But so you came out there and you wound up in Boulder. So
right, because of the rent.
Okay. So
I was paying in LA. I was paying $800 for a studio. Here I'm paying $750 for a 2-bedroom.
Okay. Really good. But
Right.
then again, it's Boulder, Colorado. It's Boulder City, Nevada, which is.
I choke on it too.
Well, the joke is it may not be the middle of nowhere, but you can see it from there.
Yeah. Take a left at the dam.
Exactly. So anyway,
Sure.
but you went into this period where you were doing nothing. Suddenly you had become bipolar, right?
No, I've had some mental issues my whole life.
Yeah.
So I was diagnosed at 17, and then re-diagnosed later on.
Mm-hmm. And so
first I was diagnosed, like I said, as manic depressive, and then I was bipolar.
Did this kind of paralyze you so that you found it difficult to work?
No.
Are you there? I think we lost him again. Let me see. There we go. It's reconnected.
And it's not like I'm on stage nervous.
Well,
but
let's go back a little bit because we lost you and it reconnected with you. I don't know what the problem is today with Skype. But anyway, back up just a little bit. I asked you, I think, did it seem to paralyze you in doing comedy? And you said... Are you there?
No.
Yeah. You said...
Yeah, I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I don't do it a lot, but now and again I think.
Yeah.
No, did it paralyze me from doing stand-up?
Yeah.
No. What it paralyzed me from doing is actually like getting in gear and getting to the club.
I see. Okay.
And a lot of the clubs here don't open till 10:30. And the other night I was going to go drop into the club, and, I took a shower and got in my pajamas and went to bed.
I mean, I'm sorry I'm laughing, but the image of that is,
Yeah.
is kind
That'll
of...
be blinding.
Yeah. So I've got to tell you something, Stephen. You were one of those comics that I said, he's going to do okay. He's really funny,
Right.
And
thank you.
And then all of a sudden, you were doing the movies, and all of a sudden, you just kind of disappeared. You went off the radar, at least my radar.
Yeah, but Alex, there was two things that culminated in me going off the radar.
Mm-hmm.
One was my drug addiction,
Mm-hmm.
and the other was my mental illness.
Yeah.
I needed to stop worrying about making people laugh and making me laugh, or taking care of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And as you know, you drop out for a year, it's almost impossible to reboot.
Well, it isn't so much that you have the inability to reboot, but the business has the inability to reboot.
Right.
Right. I mean,
and the other thing, it'd be nice to get a new manager, a new agent or something, somebody who take care of the footwork.
Yeah.
All I have to do is show up and tell people they're morons and get my paycheck and go home.
Yeah, because, I mean, I would imagine, I don't know what your act is today, but if it's anything like it was, you were terrific. You were really good,
Thank you.
Stephen, And that's why I had you on the show all the time. You never had to. You were one of those people who never had to even call me to say you were going to drop by. You would just drop in. You were.
You realize, Alex? Do you realize how much pressure comics were under when they did your show the first time?
Oh, the first time's got to be hell until they got there and found out that there was no pressure on them. I never put pressure on comics. You can come.
And the audience was just genius.
But I'll tell you why you were good on my show, and I'll tell you the difference between people who were good on my show and terrible on my show. The comedians I'll first tell you who were terrible on my show were the people who came on and then just started spouting material. In other words, they listen to you say one word like cat, and they go, I had a cat once. I remember cats. Cats, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I hated that because that wasn't what the show was about. What I liked were comics who were fast enough on their feet that they just simply were conversant. And in their conversation, they were funny. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And you were always
I know exactly what you're saying.
You were funny if you just opened your mouth and said hello, because number one, you had a great voice for radio because it was a character, And,
right.
And you just, the people I liked were the people who just went with the flow. And of course, the first time you go on there, you're terrified. But if you realize all you have to do is be you, the funny
right.
part of you, that's all I cared
right.
about,
Right, right, right. But like you said about people with material, that'd be like I'd be on the road and I've had lunch with like my opening act, and he's spouting material, and it's like, dude, I don't want to hear your material. You know, if you want to do material, go sit there somewhere else. I don't want to hear about it.
Well, comedians, though, you got to admit, comedians are constantly testing material, even in private conversation. Yeah, they have nowhere else. If they try it out in the clubs and it bombs, they're never going back to that club again, right?
Right. Or that joke, anyway.
Yeah. So, where do you put your life right now? I mean, are you trying to sneak back into comedy through a back door somewhere?
I am. What I would ideally like is to do, 1 week a month, just to make my nut, and do a couple of films.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
That's what I've done 2 with Rob Schneider.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to do a 3rd one.
Yeah.
Because I can just call him up and say, are you shooting anything, and do you have anything for me?
Yeah. Okay, because Rob was one of us.
Right.
He was
exactly.
He was a San Francisco guy, and
right. Well, let me tell you, Alex. This is I knew Rob when he first started, when he was like 16 or something, and then I ran into him at Giants Park, whatever the hell it's called this week.
Yeah.
And he came up to me, gave me a big hug, and he said, you're the only one who helped me when I was young, and I want to give back. Yeah. I'm doing a film, and I want you to be in it. And that's how it started.
A lot of people, there's a tendency for people to put down Rob, okay? I don't know why, but they do. I mean, on Family Guy, he's a joke, When you want to talk about comics, there's a bad comic on right now. It's Rob Schneider.
Right. Or he's grouped with Pauly Shore.
Yeah. I get very defensive about that. I'm very protective about him because, quite frankly, the Rob Schneider I know is a perfectly stand-up guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the other thing is, he's great when he does the sidekick. When he does the lead in a film, not so much. But when he's the sidekick, he's great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's terrific. And he did a show for Netflix, and it was, I thought, very, very good.
Yeah, I watched a stand-up set of his, and I thought it was great.
Yeah. So, I mean, people do not diss our pal, Rob Schneider, because he's paid back.
No.
He's paid back to a lot of people. He hired you for movies. He hired Bob Rubin. These are people that most of this audience doesn't even know. He hired Bob Rubin for his movies. He paid back to all the people that he knew back in the San Francisco days. He didn't just disappear and go, I'm on Saturday Night Live now, fuck you.
Right.
And I appreciate that about him. Whatever his politics are or whatever, I don't care. He's a good guy.
No.
Yeah.
He's always been a good guy to me. And I had lunch with him before I left L.A., and, he's just a regular guy.
Yeah. He's terrific. He's terrific. But, I'll tell you something.
And he's the only one who's given, Jim Carrey used to sleep on my floor in L.A., and did I ever get anything? No.
You know who did pay me back? Really strange. Years ago, a friend of mine, there was a comedy competition, brought in a woman who had come in from out of town to be in the competition and brought her by my show. Not to be on the show, but just to watch the show. This was when I was at the Quake.
Watch the madness.
This is when I was at the Quake. So she sat there, and I was introduced to her, and she says, Alex, this is my friend Roseanne, and she's a comic. And I look at her, and I see this fat woman from Utah, and I couldn't see how she was funny. Because when I talked to her, she wasn't particularly funny. You know what I'm saying? So I never had her on the show, but I took a liking to her, And she was starving and she was hungry. She was sleeping in the van owned by the amazing Jonathan on the floor. And so my friend Gail put her up in her place, and I took her out to breakfast every morning and fed her, okay? So she'd have a good meal to start the day. And for a good week, she was my guest at breakfast. So that was it. A couple of years later, I'm over at Live 105, and I get a call from an agent down in Hollywood who says, Roseanne and Tom want to do your show. I said, okay. Wow. And she came in with Tom and did the show. And she was a big star at that time. And she said to me during a break, she said, you know why I'm doing this? I said, why? She said, because you were so good to me. You know, and I thought that was wonderful, and it was somebody paying back what they felt was what they had to pay back, and I appreciated that about her. About 2 years later, I get a hold of her to see if she'll be on my show, and the call I get back is, she doesn't know who you are. So I don't know what happened. I mean, she went crazy too, you know. So. Right.
But I don't think she was ever medicated.
Yeah, probably. So what's in the future for you? I really, you know, I listen to you now, and it's like you haven't missed a beat in 25 years, 35 years. What is it? You said 1985, so that would be 85, 95, 30, let's say 35 years. You haven't missed a beat. You sound the same. You have the same character.
So do you, Alex. It's just our voices. We're not looking at the wrinkled faces that we've become.
You know what you'd be perfect for? Cartoons.
I would love to.
You know, because
you know that the voiceover world is very close-knit.
Of course.
Very small.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you know Maurice LaMarche.
I know the name, yes.
Yeah, and he works probably 5 days a week, you know, all day long, and he's one of the inner circles of voice people.
Well, Tom Kenny is, too, who's SpongeBob SquarePants. Tom Kenny's
the only one who was transferred to the movies for SpongePants Bob, or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, I just, you know, you sound great, and you're funny. You're still funny. You're funny off the cuff. I just think you should be working, you know, but unfortunately, we're also older.
Be my agent. Be my agent.
Oh, yeah, be your agent, you know. I wouldn't know where I couldn't be an agent.
You and you, too.
Yeah, but you see, I couldn't even be an agent for me. That's how bad I would be as an agent. You know?
No, me too. Me too. Yeah. I mean, I'm talent. I have no idea about anything else.
Yeah, exactly. You're terrific, Stephen, and I really, you know, this is like old home week for me. I gotta say.
Yeah. We got to do this again. Alex.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll give you a call in a couple of weeks, and we'll do it once again, Steve.
All right, man.
Stephen Kravitz.
I love you.
It's Stephen Kravitz. We love you too, Stephen.
5 years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Yeah, that's Steve Kravitz. We love Steve. Steve, I have not talked to Stephen in, oh God, I don't know how long, 30 years, something. He disappeared off the scene in San Francisco, and I don't know what the hell happened to him until now, and we caught up with him, and I still think he's a funny guy. I mean, he has a funny voice, and that's what works so well on my show in San Francisco, is that if you got a funny voice, you know, that's all you need to have. Let me see here. I'm trying to get enough volume going out of here, and I've got to turn on the Skype lines. And I didn't do the show again last night. I guess I kind of like doing this 3 days a week, but I'm not going to yet say that it's only going to be 3 days a week. So I won't know till next week how I feel about this, okay? All right. Anyway, hide ad. What they have ads now on Skype, and you got to go hide them. It's ridiculous. Anyway, it's time for you to start calling, folks. Time for you to give me a ringy dingy. We'll see if there's anybody out there tonight. Let's see. Jeff's in Europe. Who knows? Phil may have his thing with the photography club. So I don't know if there's anybody out there to call. And if we don't get people, then that's fine, because I'll then end the show early and go do other stuff. You know, I got things to watch and things to do, and but we'll wait and see if anybody decides to call the program today. Okay. If you don't know how to call the program, go over to gabnet.net, and that has a whole tutorial over on the right-hand side of the web page on how to do this. Let me see here. Oh boy, what was it that happened to me this morning? I woke up at like 7 o'clock with the world's worst stomach ache. I had eaten. We had bought some. We'd like to buy this shrimp salad at Costco, and we hope that it works good, and it tastes good. And this didn't taste good. Okay, folks. Hey, guess who's here? First up, I guess Phil didn't have his photo club tonight or whatever.
It's the first and third Wednesdays.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'll have to put that down on my calendar, Phil.
Yeah, first and third.
Let me see here. Let me go scuba diver. Come on. I'm trying to get scuba diver on there. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do it. There we go. Let me see here. Let me do my little transition. And there we go. It's the first person on our what do you call it? On our
panel.
Citizen panel. What do we call it? Citizen panel.
Yeah.
I don't do the show for one night, and I forget everything.
Well, and it's a good thing to forget.
Yeah.
But, I heard your interview with Kravitz,
Mm-hmm.
and the first time you ever got mad at me, which, you've continued to do for a long time.
Yeah. Well, you're easy to get mad at.
Yeah, well, was over Kravitz. I showed up at the Holy City Zoo, and Kravitz, at the time, I had just finished the short stint that I did helping you out at Camel, because you needed to go on vacation, and you needed somebody to produce your show, so you trained me, and I helped the guys that would come in.
Yeah.
So anyway, Kravitz says, "Oh, can you get me on Alex's show?" And, he was kind of really aggressive. And so, and I could see maybe he was bipolar then too. But, my standard thing is, when I don't want to say something to anybody, is I say, well, let me see what I can do. Mm-hmm. And so the next day he shows up at the studio and he says, "Phil said I could be on the show." I didn't say that, but you called me up and you said, "Hey, what are you doing?" that was the first time you got mad at me.
Well, aggressiveness is something that we kind of take for granted with comics, with people in show business. I mean, they're out to make it, and the way they make it is by being aggressive.
Now, remember, you were still, I think, at Camel, or you just went to the next station. You were probably still at Camel, and so he was pretty aggressive, but he might have also been a little off his kilter.
Well, it could be,
yeah.
But I mean, he was a great guest on the show.
Yeah.
Boy, the damn lights are blinking again in here. They didn't do it over the weekend. They just do it on the weekdays.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Well, they take the weekends off.
I give up. This is getting ridiculous.
Well, that's what you get for living in a 119-year-old building. The lights are going to be an issue. The person 2 buildings over turns their lights on, and yours are going to flicker.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Mine are going to flicker. So I don't know if anybody else is going to call. If it's just going to be you and I.
Oh, we've done that before.
We have done that before, haven't we, Phil?
Yeah.
The
the last time I remember, and it was a lot of fun, was when we were stuck in Sausalito for a week or 4 days, and you had to do the show from your kitchen table.
Yes.
And I was your only guest.
God, it's hot in here on top of everything, and the temperature outside is only 70 degrees, and yet it's hot in the studio. It's
well,
hot
maybe it's 79.
No, it's
You're starting to get hot flashes.
It's humid in the whole apartment. You know? Yeah.
Well, that's New York. They got bugs the size of Volkswagens.
I'm sick and tired of it, Phil.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of it. I just want some nice, cool weather. We had it for a couple of days. We had some nice days here.
Is this the first day of fall? Or the second?
I think yesterday was the first.
Yesterday?
2 days ago. Was it 23rd or is it 21st? I can't remember.
I don't know.
I don't
but
care.
that means
doesn't matter. It still feels like it's summer, so fuck it.
Well, enjoy it while you got it, because pretty soon it's going to be freezing. And
something. Oddly enough, I like freezing better than I like heat.
You'll have an excuse for not going outside.
Well, you see, the thing is, when it gets really hot, you can't take off enough clothes, all right, to be cool. Yeah. But you can put up on enough clothes to keep warm when it's cold.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's coming.
When?
This is almost October.
Yeah, it should already be getting
November.
Cool. It should
maybe another 30, 45 days.
It should be getting. Oh, really? No.
Oh, November it's going to be cold, and the leaves are turning pretty soon in New York.
The leaves are already turning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I miss about being in California is you don't see those beautiful fall colors.
Well, I barely have seen them ever. I've never been upstate at the time that was happening, and there are a couple of days, when they're just ripe. And the whole countryside is ablaze. I saw the beginning of it when I was in Vermont. We were up in Vermont about this time of the year, and it was starting to happen. You could start seeing the leaves turning this orange. But it hadn't yet gotten to the point where the whole countryside would look like it was on fire,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, Vermont has, it's more rural than the parts of New York that are adjacent to the city.
Yeah.
Where I grew up, which was maybe an hour north driving, up to Taconic or that area. That's gorgeous too, and the leaves change. If you take the Taconic.
Yeah. So anyways, I've never been able to actually see the leaves turn, and I really, 'cause I got to rent a car, and I got to get in the car, and I got to go to state, and I think I've been in New York so long now without leaving it that I don't know where the exits are anymore.
And now in the park. Is there vegetation there that turns?
Oh yeah, it turns, but it's not like when you're upstate and you've got miles upon miles upon miles, about hundreds of miles of just meadows,
the colors, the fall colors.
The fall colors, yeah. So here, you get the trees do change. They cough a little, but they change.
Yeah.
I used to make a joke about New York is we have wildlife here. We have pigeons who cough. You can hear them coughing.
Yeah.
But we don't have that bad air here anymore.
No. It's because New York, and many parts of the country, Los Angeles, for instance. I remember 30, 35 years ago, if you were in Los Angeles, you couldn't see the mountains. It was so full of smog. Now it's just full of junkies, but it's not smoggy anymore.
Right.
It's the same with most of the major cities.
Yeah.
We in the United States, we've done a really good job of cleaning up our major cities, and Los Angeles was a bowl because the way the mountains were set up, it would trap the smog, and you couldn't see you couldn't see anything. You had no idea where you were.
Where are you
And it
talking?
was, and
Where
it was black.
are you talking about?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, yeah.
Yeah.
Los Angeles. Well, Los Angeles had a problem because it's in a basin.
That's right. It was in a bowl.
And so and so the smog got trapped in the basin.
Right. That's right.
So I used to refer to it as the L.A. toilet bowl.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's not that way anymore.
They've cleared.
And-
Well, I mean, all that has happened because we have become more efficient with pollution, with doing away with pollution.
You know, and I like these hybrid cars. You know, I don't like the fact that when you get into it and you can't hear the engine roar.
Well, no, but it doesn't have to do as much with that as the fact that we've also put emission standards on cars. You know.
Yeah.
And that has cost us a lot of money because it's not as gas efficient as the stuff without the smog. You know.
Well, in California, they're having an issue over the fact that California has different gas emission standards than the rest of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do they have to make a special
There's
gas,
a special blend out there, yeah.
special blend,
Yeah.
but California requires auto manufacturers to make their cars specific to California and their standards.
There's nothing wrong with that because you can breathe. You know?
Although
I mean,
the federal standards are saying if California is asking for a second standard, which makes our cars more expensive in California, and it's more difficult for the auto manufacturers, they're saying there should only be one standard, the federal standard.
well, I would disagree with that because you also have different areas with different amounts of usage of automobiles. For instance, California, you have much more use of automobiles than you do elsewhere in the country.
What about
You
New
know.
York?
New York, I don't own a car. I don't know people who own cars here.
Yeah, but the streets are totally clogged with cars.
What they're clogged with is cabs,
Yeah.
Ubers, Lyfts.
Did you notice that the Ubers,
trucks.
a lot of them, or the cabs, a lot of them are Priuses now?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, it used to be
or
checker
hybrids.
cab.
Or hybrids.
Yeah, hybrid. Some sort of hybrid.
Oh, checker cabs don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
But
they were cool.
Oh, well, they were cool because they lasted 20 years on the roads in New York City. I mean, they were built like a tank.
You know, they had these water-filled bumpers, and I said,
they
you know, when
really?
my daughter
Yeah.
started to drive, I wanted a checker cab for her with the water-filled bumpers. You know?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, sure.
Well, I'm the one that needs it. On Sunday, I was on my way to Ray Renati's play, and I got rear-ended.
Well, you told us
And-
about that this last Sunday?
Sunday the 15th.
The 15th. Well, wait a minute. Didn't you
A
tell
week
us this
ago.
story already? You told us this story
Possibly.
already. Yeah.
Possibly. But, you know, I wish I had one of
No,
those
but it was
bumpers.
not last weekend that you went, but the weekend
It was the weekend before,
Yeah,
right.
you told us about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got rear-ended. So,
Yeah.
has it been
Well,
fixed?
no, I haven't even gotten the report number yet. The CHP officer calls me up
Yeah.
and says, I got to take a picture of the damage. I said, I got a picture. I'll send it to you. He says,
Excuse me.
yeah.
Went down the wrong way.
It's that pollution in New York. So he says, I got to take a picture of the damage. So I said, well, look, I got a picture. He says, no, I got to take it. I said, well, I could go. Now, I got hit in Hayward. And now, you know, Hayward is maybe an hour from Walnut Creek during commute hour. And so he wanted to see me at 3 o'clock today. I had to drive all the way to Hayward, take the picture, took 30 seconds, and I left. And then it was another hour to get home. I said, why can't I just go to the local CHP office in Martinez? He says, no, we got to do it. So they don't have a case number yet. All he's given me is a card. And he says, now, if you want the case number, just use this number and pay $8, and we'll get you a copy of the report. So you'll see the case number.
Oh, boy.
And who the guy was that caused the accident, the Uber driver, so that I could get a hold of his insurance company. Otherwise, I got to pay $500 to my insurance company.
Nothing's easy anymore. By the way, folks, we need some callers here. This is ridiculous, okay? I don't know why we don't have callers tonight. Maybe you're mad at me because I wasn't on last night, you know.
No. They're mad about Stephen Kravitz, you know.
Oh, they're
you
mad
haven't had
about
him on in
Stephen-
35 years.
Haven't had him on in 35 years, and they're protesting that. All right. What, that he hasn't been on in 35 years, or that
you had him on
had
after
him on
35
after
years.
35 years? Yeah.
You did the world a favor, and now
Yeah.
all of a sudden Kravitz is on.
Anyway, we need some callers, folks, here. Otherwise, I'm going to call this thing off early tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need this.
You know, and I'm surprised because I'll go to the low-hanging fruit. This was a bad day for Democrats. You know, they decide that they're going to make a cause for impeachment before they even get the facts. You know, and also just remember, maybe people will call if I go for the low-hanging fruit. But the Democrats have egg on their face again, and it's like they're in another world. They're going to continue to push this conversation regardless of the facts. You know?
You're absolutely right, Phil.
Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, really?
You're absolutely right, Phil. Maybe that'll get them to call.
Tulsi Gabbard. She said that Pelosi bowing to the people that want to impeach under any terms, she's just caved. But I think Pelosi's actually smarter than that. What she's done is she hasn't done anything but created a face-saving moment for her, because they were already doing what they called a formal impeachment investigation. And in order to have an impeachment, you have to have a vote. Well, there's been no vote. So nothing's changed since the announcement from Nadler. But Pelosi making this announcement, you know, she was in the news cycle, and it appeased the base. But really, nothing's happened.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm bored by it all. You know, I'm getting really bored by it. I think that I just when I listen to places like all the networks ginning this story up, one way or the other, no matter which way they want to balance it. I think impeachment of the President of the United States at this point is a useless exercise, because we've only got about a year before there's an election. Okay.
Right. You didn't even want to impeach the governor of California when I remember you talking about that when Schwarzenegger won. Prior to that, we had a governor. There was some issues over pre-purchasing electricity.
Well, I've been against, in many cases, against impeachment for this reason. Yes, I think there are definite reasons to impeach this president, okay? You and I could argue that, but I think there are definite reasons. I think he's betrayed our democracy. Okay, but putting that aside, impeaching him now is not going to serve any useful purpose. What would serve a useful purpose is to put all your eggs in the basket of trying to get a Democrat elected president of the United States, and letting that be your form of impeachment. I would say if this were 2 years ago, yes, okay, go for it. But it's getting too close to the election, you know. So.
Even if they do impeach, it's a Pyrrhic victory. You know, there's not nothing's going to happen, and nothing's going to come of it, except it's going to energize the Republican base.
There are some people who are believing that if it does go to the Senate, he might lose.
I think only Mitt Romney.
It depends. It depends on the amount of evidence that's presented, and if it's irrefutable evidence. I think there's a lot that's been going on that is not very good. Okay,
Gabbard,
and I think
Tulsi Gabbard said yesterday that, or was it yesterday or this morning, that based on the transcript of the conversation, that it doesn't rise to the to impeachment, and
to the level of impeachment.
To the level of impeachment.
Yeah.
And she's right. There's really nothing there. Now, what I'm missing in this whole conversation is Biden was bragging at the Council on Foreign Relations back in 2018 of how he withheld $1.2 billion from the Ukraine if they didn't fire the prosecutor that was looking into his son's case in under a corruption investigation.
That is an allegation that has not been proven and not been found to be fact, Phil.
Well, then
you're simply using Republican and Fox News talking points. These are not.
I heard him say it they have a video of him at the CARE, which is the Council on Foreign Relations, and he's being interviewed, and he said that verbatim. He said, and when the Ukraine people, the negotiators said to him, well, President Obama said that they're going to give us the money. He says, I'm out of here in 6 hours unless you do this, unless you fire that guy. And by the way, so the guy says, well, I'll call the president. He says, the president's the one that told me to do this. It is so black and so black and white.
Phil, I'm not believing what you're saying.
Well, I saw the video.
No.
Next time I see it, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send me the video. Is this Biden?
Yeah,
is Biden saying this?
Biden, and he used an expletive that got beeped out during the video, and he, like he says, I told those bums the way it's going to be. He was bragging. If you didn't see that video, I'd be very surprised.
I didn't. Did you see the video?
You didn't see the Biden video of him bragging
No.
at the Council on Foreign Relations?
No.
Let's see if I can find it. Hey, Tony's
By the
here.
way, you're frozen, Phil.
I am?
Yeah. Turn off your camera and turn it
It's
back
hot
on.
here,
I'm cold. My air conditioner's blowing cold. I got to turn it
quit
off.
bragging. Okay. Off
and then
on. Okay. Better?
Now it's fine. No,
right.
Now you're frozen. Oh, no, you're okay now. Yeah.
All right. I wish I was frozen. It's hot here.
Yeah.
This weather's crazy.
But I don't give a shit about any of this. I think that forget about what Biden did. Because
why?
Wait a minute. Why? Because he's not president of the United States, and he did not.
He was the VP.
It doesn't matter. He's not VP anymore. This man is president of the United States, and basically there was a roundabout way of saying, hey, if you go after this, we may help you get the money. Okay.
Let's see. Biden at CARE. Well, maybe I got to spell it out. Council on Foreign Relations.
Are they going to try to impeach him then, or no? I was trying to follow that story.
It's much to do about nothing.
Well, it's not much to do about nothing. I think there will be an impeachment vote. I think that's going to happen. So it's not much ado about nothing. It looks to me like Trump is panicked. He's in panic mode.
Because he came out and gave that speech today. I caught a little bit of it. It looked like he was trying to I don't know, like he was trying to pass himself off. I don't know. Here's a question though: how did that come? How did they get him? Did they get him on tape? I mean, how did that come out? The phone call?
No. To begin with, what you saw today, the transcript, which is not a recording. It's a transcript, and it is not a transcript verbatim of the call. It is a recollection. A extemporaneous recollection of what went on in the call by various people who were involved in listening in on the call. So it's not word for word what went on. So it's not exactly. He gave the idea it was going to be a transcript, an absolute transcript of the call, but it's an extemporaneous transcript rather than a real word for word. This is the way it was transcript. I'm surprised nobody recorded it.
That's the way they do it.
I was hearing the story leak. I said, "Oh wow, this is unbelievable."
They have several people who take notes during these conversations. That's the way.
Yeah, but I'm surprised they didn't record it. You know.
Oh, okay.
You know.
I think I found it.
I mean, you're speaking with another country. You're right. You would think that would be.
Where did you first of all?
Of their own pasts. Something I know intimately from my time trying to negotiate in Northern Ireland. But this deals with countries like South Africa,
Wait a minute.
but also the United States. Given our own complicated legacy as well as Russia, China, and others, I really urge people to look at it just one step beyond.
Let me get to the thing where you.
Yeah, well, I don't want to hear the whole
to-
goddamn thing, Phil.
Yeah, it's an hour.
Oh, well, why don't you go find it and then we'll get back to you, okay? You know, that'll keep him quiet for a while. Keep him busy.
Joe's in the middle.
Yeah, we're being joined here by, let me see here, by Ray Renati.
Yay.
Oh,
Hey.
the lights blinked again in here. People are watching
Did
me.
he know Phil was in the audience that night?
Hmm?
Yeah.
Hey, can I just say something about Biden in that video?
Yeah,
Did
sure,
you hear the
sure.
video?
Okay. Yes, I did. I watched it. Okay,
all right.
and I looked into it, and here's the deal. That thing is taken completely out of context. Biden was the head of an international group that had decided that guy in the Ukraine was so corrupt that he had to go, and Biden had been appointed by the group to be the one to head that up. It's not like Biden went out there to try to do something for his son and all that BS.
Say that again.
His son
Say,
happened to be on the board of one of the companies.
oh, wait a minute. Say that again, though, about what
Okay.
was said in there.
Okay, the I think it was a prosecutor in the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
He was extremely corrupt, and he was causing a lot of problems. And Biden was the head of an international group of world leaders who was appointed to go and give this news to the Ukraine about that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like Biden was doing some kind of personal bidding or anything like that. But if you listen to the video,
But was
they
he
presented-
vice president at the time?
Yeah,
Yes.
Uh-huh.
yeah, but he was not acting alone or anything like that. It was all out in the open. It was part of an international consortium to decide to get rid of this guy, and they had to get Ukraine to get rid of this guy because he was causing all kinds of problems.
Okay. All right.
So it wasn't that he was trying to do some kind of underhanded thing for his son and all this stuff that people are saying. And his son was just on the board of one of these companies. He wasn't
And received $50,000 a month salary.
But that
and
has nothing to do with Biden. With Biden didn't go out doing this.
If you can't see the connection here,
Biden
I'm very
was-
surprised.
Who got 50 grand?
What
Okay,
connection,
so
Phil?
Biden was chosen by other people to do this.
Yeah, he was the chosen one.
Okay, you don't believe it. All right,
No,
fine.
no, you're making
Okay.
you're sloughing it
I
off,
gotta
Phil.
go. I can't talk when this happens.
No, stay
when
stay
there's
around.
lies
Stay,
going on.
no, stay
Well,
around.
when there's just lies going on, I can't stand it. You know, when there's just like
you can't stand
no,
that. I
because you're
disagree.
assuming.
I'm
No, it's
not
that you're
assuming.
disagreeing with the fact.
Okay,
Don't
I'm
look
going
it
to
up,
send it
Phil.
to Alex, but it's 59 minutes.
No, I'm not going to
It's
watch
6
59 minutes of a fucking.
All right, well, I'll find it another time. I can't find it now.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I got
apparently,
the whole-
maybe you
I got the
can't
whole
find
thing.
it. Maybe you can't find it
I
because it
can't
doesn't
find the quote.
exist. Because
Yeah,
No,
it
it does
exists.
exist. I saw it too. I saw it. It exists.
Yeah. Now, what did he say in this snippet that I'm talking
you're
about?
frozen again, Phil.
What did he? Oh, what really?
Yeah.
What did he say, Ray? What he said? I'm going to withhold the 1.2 billion in aid until you fire the guy, and you got 6 hours.
No, it was an interview. It was an interview after the whole thing happened, and he was recounting the story of what he had to do.
Okay, so it
That's
wasn't
what I saw.
50 minutes.
That's
50
what I saw. That's what I saw.
All right.
He was telling a story in an interview of what they had to do with the Ukraine. But it wasn't like
I'm sure, Phil, if you went online somewhere, you could send it to me later. You could find just that portion. I'm sure somebody
Yeah,
like
I'll
Fox
find
has it or somebody like that.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, where did you see it? You know?
I can't remember exactly.
All right.
It was. It's in my history.
Okay,
on
but
YouTube.
wait,
I can find it.
let me get the context here because it's eluding me. Biden was relating what exactly?
When they decided to withhold money for the Ukraine, like Trump, but it wasn't. But it was part of an international group that Biden was the spokesperson for.
Yeah.
And
so
they did that.
But he was vice.
That the Ukraine would get rid of this guy.
Yeah, he was vice president.
Am I wrong, Phil?
Yes.
How am I wrong?
Because he was the vice president representing the United States at that meeting, and he pressured another country to fire somebody who, now the impropriety is that his son was on the board of that company making buku money with no experience.
Wait a minute.
No
You're taking
that
out of context to begin with, Phil. Because what we're saying here is that this thing happened and it existed. But if you listen to the current head of the Ukraine, whatever his name is, he said that particular guy was corrupt.
And it
Probably
wasn't
was.
Biden,
and was known to be.
States.
That prosecutor was known to be corrupt, and that's the reason why they got rid of him.
Not necessarily. He was doing an investigation on corruption, and Biden wanted him out.
A lot of people wanted him out.
That's
the head of the Ukraine said the government wanted him out.
Now, isn't it odd that they would pick Biden to be the messenger of this firing when his son is involved with it? I think that shows, he should have recused himself.
I don't know that his son was involved with it. His son was his son was part of a company that was being prosecuted by this prosecutor who was considered to be what we call corrupt.
And the energy company started with a B. It was owned by an oligarch.
Anyway, we're going around and around on something that doesn't matter, because what we're talking about now is a president of the United States attempting to influence another country to make a potential candidate of his look bad. Okay, forget about Biden. Biden may not even be the nominee of the party. Okay, we're talking about the president of the United States doing an action which is at the very least self-serving.
Well, I think you got blinders on, because it's very important.
I don't have blinders on, Phil.
But it goes back to the Russia investigation. They've accused Trump of colluding with the Russians. When he
colluded with the Russians, and now he colluded with the Russians, and now he's trying to collude with the Ukraine.
Well, it's a pattern. Is a pattern here?
There's a pattern, but the pattern goes back to Obama and Biden.
Phil, you know New York, don't you? Wait a minute, you lived in New York, right?
Yeah.
You know New York and the way they do business. You don't think fucking Trump acts like a mobster?
Yeah.
It's like
it's like James Cagney.
No, but that's not an excuse.
He may act like a mobster, but Joe Biden and Obama are mobsters.
Kevin has joined us. Kevin, stick around, Ray. Don't get upset.
All right. I mean, that's just like the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. Obama and Biden are mobsters.
Yes. Yeah. Obama is a mobster. Oh, thank you very much. You know something? You wouldn't know class if it came and bit you in the ass.
You know why Obama never said much and didn't have a lot of meetings? Because he was raping and pillaging, and he didn't want you to know about
raping and pillaging
he's
what?
An N-word.
Yeah, raping and pillaging.
He's an N-word.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, pull the end card.
Wait a minute, Kevin's...
No, it's not the end card, it's the truth, Phil.
Kevin's joined us.
You know it, man. You know him.
No, I don't care if he's black.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kevin
right.
Kevin has joined us. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Alex.
Yeah. Did you hear any of this stuff with Biden and his whole whatever he had to do with the Ukraine?
Yeah, I've been listening to it all day.
Yeah.
Phil, you ignorant slut.
Can you explain, Kevin, what I was talking about with the when he was bragging at the Council on Foreign Relations about how he withheld the money and said if you don't fire
No, I didn't hear that part of it, but I sure heard Trump trying to drag the president of the Ukraine into his bullshit today, and I couldn't believe it. The mobster thing is exactly what he was doing. He was trying to pull the president of the Ukraine into it, and then sit there and go, I hope you and your little country can work things out with the Russians, and then sit back and say, I hope you work it out.
That's
You
not
know,
true.
just left him hanging.
No, what he said was Obama gave him blankets
He
and
basically strong-armed
Trump
that
gave him-
guy and told him, just tell him what I told you to tell them in that press conference today. It was obvious as hell.
All right, I'm
He
looking for
scripted that whole damn thing today.
Well,
And it looked so mob, it was ridiculous.
unless that interview was AI and it was totally bogus. You know how they make these films and they have people saying stuff. You know, unless that's what it was, and I don't think it was. Biden, in his own words, and on camera, was bragging about doing exactly what they're accusing Trump of doing. And he did it while he was the, what do you call it, the vice president.
I don't think
But
it's
here's a
exactly.
question. Can I say one thing?
I'm not going to.
Can I say one thing to Phil?
Yeah, sure.
Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, which I don't believe Obama is a mobster type at all. But let's just say him and Biden were acting like thugs according to Phil, and they were doing bad things. So that makes it right for Trump to do bad things then? Does that make any sense?
Well, that's what.
But Trump didn't do anything bad.
But you were comparing it to
Okay,
how
I
they
think
were
I think I found it.
Go
ahead.
Trump's trying to save the world. He's doing everything right.
Well, I just don't figure.
It was a
Forgot
perfect
that.
conversation. It was perfect. It was the most perfect conversation.
It was a beautiful conversation.
Did
What
you hear
was
me?
that?
Did you hear me? No pressure. No pressure.
It was perfect. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
What a freaking idiot.
yeah.
He's an egomaniac.
Phil is.
I mean,
Phil is going crazy trying to prove his point, even though he can't find the segment that proves his point.
I found it.
I don't disagree with what
Let's
Phil
hear it.
says is in the video. That is what is in the video, but you're not. But okay, I'm not
Is
going
he
to say it
taking
again.
contact? But let's hear it then, if he has
Well,
it.
he's going to hold it up to the screen, and we're going to try and hear the audio, and it's not going to be.
I'm going to try and send it to you, but I can either post it to my page, but I'm trying to send it to Messenger, and that isn't one of the things. So let me go back a little and see what I can do.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you know, I was almost not going to come on and talk. It's people said to me, wrote like, "What a day for Alex not to do his show." Blah blah blah
yeah, I
blah.
saw that.
You know, and my attitude was, "What a great day not to do my show."
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, I mean, I'm so
believe I
tired of this. I'm exhausted by it. You know, and I'm tired of hearing all the various news networks, and that goes for the right-wing news networks and the left-wing news networks, trying to constantly gin up this whole situation for ratings. You know.
I was listening to PBS today, and it was actually it was. I'm going to listen to them from now on. I mean, they seem to be way more like regular news.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they don't seem to try to be biased. They actually are like trying to report stuff.
Somebody writes here that video, Phil, is taken out of context. Oh, and it's from Ray Renati.
That was me. Yeah, I wrote it earlier before I came on. But you can just do the research. It wasn't like he, whatever.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I just think that.
And it doesn't matter because we're talking about Trump.
And we're talking about Trump. We're talking about the President of the United States. We're not talking about a guy who's trying to be President of the United States, you know? And that's the important point to make here, that we're talking about the behavior of a president in office doing business for the United States. There we go. You know, every time this air conditioner turns on and off, the lights dim. God, I can't believe
Well, that's
You know
pretty
what?
reasonable.
You know what really bothers me is
What?
that we just went through this whole Mueller report, and Mueller had to indict how many Russians and send them back because they were hacking our elections. He said it absolutely happened in the Mueller report, and then Trump meets with the Ukrainian guy and asks him to hack our elections again, just like he did told them to do with Hillary. I mean, it just blows my mind. And he's
Well,
like, it's a perfect.
You know,
How can you get away with that shit?
he can't let sleeping dogs lie. In other words, he's got a hard-on for Obama. I have no idea why. I suspect it was the correspondence dinner is the reason why he hates Obama. Okay, it's terrible. You know, I mean, it's terrible the way he doggedly has gone after an ex-president. Current presidents don't go after former presidents that way. If they could disagree with everything they did, they let it lie and they go on. Like, for instance, Obama. Not once when he was president did he go back and sully the record of George Bush for what he did in Iraq. Okay?
Never.
Which he could have very easily done. But you don't do that. It's just not proper. This guy, he looks upon Obama as the enemy. Obama can't do shit now. He can't get him he can't get elected again. I mean, Obama's on to other stuff now. Let sleeping dogs lie. Just because you got a hard-on for the guy, because you've got a thin skin, and God knows, his skin is so thin you can see through it. Enough is enough. He hates Biden because Biden was with Obama, and he might be running against him, so he's playing the long game. You know, I don't know who knows what he's going to do if Elizabeth Warren becomes the candidate. I guess we're back to the Pocahontas thing.
Oh,
you know.
Oh my God! I hope
Biden at least brought up stuff in the Senate and had bills passed. Warren, what bills did she pass in the Senate of any significance?
I don't know, and I don't care.
She hasn't.
But I don't care.
Done anything.
But I don't care.
She's lied on her applications for jobs.
I don't care. She's running for president of the United States, and she's running on ideas, and she has some pretty damn good ideas, so far as I'm concerned. You know, you're trying to divert the entire election into areas where it doesn't need to go at this point.
Yeah, but you see, the Democrats have been doing that. They've done it with Kavanaugh, or they tried to. They've marched a whole bunch of people up there. They tried just to do it again.
Kavanaugh
and now
was guilty.
They're using this kind of diversion to try to discredit Trump. You know?
No, Trump's doing enough to, people would have nothing to go after Trump on if Trump wasn't acting in a highly illicit manner and using the presidency as a what can we call it, as a bankable item. Okay.
Whatever happened, we heard the tape of him telling Cohen to pay off Stormy Daniels. We have a copy of the check when he was president of him paying off Stormy Daniels. This is all campaign violation stuff. Whatever happened to that? That's like completely illegal. Those are crimes. Whatever happened to that?
Because most of those guys are in jail.
Trump did it.
He pays his bills.
Oh, does he?
Now, that's like
does he?
So when you say shit like that, like every time Phil, like somebody gets like a truth out, you like have to tell a joke.
Trump
about
is
it,
known as the biggest deadbeat in the business.
Yeah, we know that. A lot of people didn't get paid over the bankruptcy. You know, when people go bankrupt, they're not allowed to pay.
But he goes bankrupt every week.
Well, he had a casino that went bankrupt.
Huh?
And he had a casino that went bankrupt. And, not even Merv Griffin could make those casinos
Why is
go.
it this guy had to go to a foreign country to get money because he couldn't get a loan in the United States if he's such a great businessman?
Well, the Deutsche Bank does business in the United States.
Yes,
it's not
yes,
necessarily a foreign country.
But you could, a reputable person can go to Bank of America, Wells Fargo, any one of a number of financial institutions in this country.
Ray, you're gonna hate this, Ray, but Deutsche Bank was giving away toasters.
Well,
2 pizza, 4 pizza.
Yeah, he says I always make a joke.
I love toast. It's okay, Phil. I don't care actually.
All right.
I know I seem really upset, but I'm not.
I
just actually.
Oh, by the way, can I just?
I'm so tired. Yeah. I'm so tired of this.
Let me just go off. Let me go off topic for 1 second. Tony, clean your lens again. It's getting foggy again. I don't know what there is.
How the hell does that happen?
I think maybe he's. Are you near the kitchen?
I hope I get a new computer.
Are you near the kitchen?
Oh God.
I'm in the living room. I'm in the dining room. And
Because
all this could be yours if the price is right.
What do? Spit loogies at that thing?
I'm just wetting it a little bit. I
That's
tell
a
you,
loogie.
I'm watching the prices right now. I know it's that, and then let's make a deal. Come on down.
Hey, he's dressed like a turnip.
It's so weird. I never have to clean the cameras on my computers.
no,
How does that
your
happen?
computer. You have a very clean picture. So does all of you do, and now, oddly enough, so does Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
but he's got
what
a
is
loogie
getting
on it.
on that thing all the time?
Well, sometimes if you're near a kitchen, a lot of the, you
Cooking
can,
oils.
yeah,
Steam
yeah.
and stuff? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, I don't know. I guess my camera looks fine, but I never particularly think to clean the lens. But then again, I'm not in a room that gets grease and everything.
I clean mine occasionally.
Yeah, me too.
I got this shit, and I got this special tissue.
I
and-
got that. Phil
You
gave
got
it to me.
that too.
I
My
got
buddy
this too.
Phil.
We all have it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Woo!
Yeah. That's deodorant.
Yeah.
This is my iPhone. I'm on my iPhone. This thing's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Alex has got an 11. He's got his.
Oh.
I'm not buying the 11.
No, I don't have the
I'm done.
11. Well, I don't have the 11.
I thought you bought the 11.
No, not yet.
Oh, didn't you just?
By the way,
other night?
by the way, let's just take a few moments out because we can get back to this. But in the last week or so, my life took a great turn for the better. I sent away back to Amazon, and I had gone through 2 graphics cards that didn't work in my Mac Pro because I heard you could put a graphic card in the Mac Pro and then you could use Mojave and whatever. I sent away for another one that was recommended by Apple as one of the cards that they say work in the Mac Pro 2010. I installed the thing. Boom, boots right up. I got a picture.
All right.
I upgraded it to Mojave. Boom, I got Mojave in the machines. The only thing is, after a couple of days, though, I have to reboot the machines. But outside of that, it works. So
I just upgraded my Mac to Mojave too, and it seemed like it worked.
yeah, but yours could. These
Yeah.
2010s, you couldn't because the graphics card wasn't capable of it. But once you got another graphic card that had what they call metal, you could do that. And I wasn't working with these others that I plugged in. I waited for an hour and picture never came up. This one, all of a sudden, I turn it over and take a look, and the thing's booted up. Life is good, Phil keeps sending me stuff.
I have
I
to say,
finally,
really
I
like
think I
that.
sent you one that went through.
Yeah? Let me see
Now
here.
What happened to Tony? Oh, there he is.
He's cleaning his
I got-
monitor.
No, I got a cup of coffee. I did.
You're so
I
clear.
sent you the wrong-
Tony, I haven't seen you that clear in a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm working.
You're clear now.
I
Yeah.
got to show you.
That wallpaper's in high def.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so Alex,
I love that wallpaper.
Actually, I'm getting used to it now.
Let me see here.
You ought to
What-
take a
I
picture
only
of it.
scream 4 times a day, not 3.
So if I were to play this video of him bragging,
It's not. I'm not getting it to play. I don't understand why.
oh, okay. Well, I want to try. I
Oh,
want to try.
come
now.
on. I thought you had it.
I thought I did too. Oh, wait a minute. Well, maybe it's just got to download. Video of bragging Biden trading $1 billion in Ukraine aid for official firing. This looks like a still picture.
Hmm?
Maybe here it must. You got to go down a little bit, and this is the foreign affairs thing. So I had to scroll down.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
there
I'll
he
look
is.
at
Okay.
it. I'll look at it
Okay,
later,
so there it
Phil.
is. Yeah,
I
you
have the
just gotta
video.
scroll
I'll
down.
send it to you later, Phil. I have it in my history,
Well,
but I can't do it on the phone.
I finally found it, and I was
Oh.
finally, my fingers don't work anymore. I'm losing my touch. I don't know if it's the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I push buttons, they don't push. Maybe I'm going to have to get the 11, but I want to stop working.
I don't want to spend money. I'm done.
Yeah.
The 11, from what I can tell, the main thing is the camera's better. And I looked at it, and it has wide angle. It has all kinds of cool stuff.
but
like it had three
But the
lenses.
rest of it is not. Yeah, it does. But the
look,
rest of it
here's what happens
pretty
with
much the same.
here's what happens with all these phones now. Here comes Tim Cook. He's showing you. Now let's look at the new iPhone 11. Okay. We got 3 cameras in there. Some people say old people will look at that camera and try to shave with it.
Looks like a Norelco.
It looks like a
It does.
Norelco.
I saw it. Yeah.
But that it looks, you know, I mean, what he did for 10 minutes was extol the virtues of the camera. I have never heard him once in the history of this camera in the last 10 years say, by the way, the audio from the phone calls is so clear now.
Because it's not.
Or you can get a better signal.
sucks.
Yeah. No,
That
I
would-
mean, they
yeah,
quit
that would-
selling them as phones years ago. They're selling them as a camera,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm sorry, I can buy it for $1,100. I can
Oh.
buy a really nice Nikon, you know?
You know,
Hey.
the analog phones used to sound better when you were in good connection
Mm-hmm.
than these phones. The iPhones sound horrible.
What's
I'm
happening?
constant- Yeah, there you go.
Hey.
And my iPhone sounds better when I use the headphones. When I try to listen through the speaker on the phone,
I'll tell you
can't
though,
hear you.
I got to tell you though, I have like I do calls on just phone only, with like Kravitz and Bubs, and they don't sound like they're on the phone. They sound pretty clean, you know. And believe it or not,
Yeah,
Bubs
it's
still has a flip phone. You know, he has a clamshell.
I want to go back to one. I would be happy with this. This is Nextel.
Yeah.
The batteries lasted a lot.
Oh yeah,
longer.
it was great.
Well,
I got an antenna.
here is the mysterious thing that's happened to me. Remember Mickey? When I tapped Mickey,
Yeah.
Mickey would tell me what time it was. Doesn't happen
Nothing, right?
anymore. Doesn't happen anymore.
It's you know why? It's pissed that you got that new
No.
Alexa.
No, I upgraded to the new OS, and it's not working.
Oh, Jesus.
I read somewhere that the new 13 OS has a problem, and it said don't upgrade yet.
Oh, I upgraded already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there'll be a fix out soon.
The fix for what? They already got a fix already. They did.
The 13.1 or something.
13.1 came out yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
I often wait when I see an upgrade. I often wait a few weeks.
Mickey is not saying, hello. You know, it's 11:30. Good
Yeah.
evening.
That sucks.
You know, so I mean, I'm sure they'll fix it eventually, but it doesn't work on Marjorie's Mickey, and it doesn't work on a friend of hers' Mickey. It apparently is something that had to do with the upgrade. So I called Apple, and they said they're going to call me tomorrow at 3:00 and tell me what they found out. You know,
I know what they found out. It's not working
It's
on
not-
yours or Marjorie's.
no, it's not working. Period. I mean, it can't be working on 3 different phones with 3 different accounts, and be anything but something in there. And it happened because we upgraded to the new operating system.
They left something out, and you're the only person that cares about that.
I
feature.
know. I wish I could have heard that phone call. My Mickey is not working.
Actually,
Please.
I got some. I'll tell you, I've been dealing with what do you call it? Customer support on several levels. To begin with, I'm here to report and tell you that see the lights just. Did you see that, folks?
Yeah, I saw that.
You see what happened? And that's
Yeah.
because the air conditioner changed its thing or whatever. But yet, the monitors and stuff don't go out. It's only the lights.
So that's called a surge. And if you get a surge protector with a battery, that won't affect your computer.
No, it doesn't affect the computer at all anyway, Phil. That's what I was just saying.
You get enough of a surge, it will.
No, apparently it doesn't. The
Different circuit.
No, they're all on the same circuit.
Really?
Yeah. They don't dim, only the lights. Now, the lights are all LEDs.
That's why.
So that may have something to do with it.
Because LEDs will just like do that on the smallest, for the smallest reason. Mine's do. Like,
know,
if you have those slider ones.
Kevin may know about this. On the motorcycle, I have a lot of LED stuff. I got LED blinkers. I got all sorts of LED stuff. Now, if you have LEDs, you need some sort of booster or some sort of thing on the charging system that allows for a lot of LEDs. Are you familiar with that, Kevin? At least on motorcycles?
It needs a relay or some kind of a transformer that changes the voltage or something to them.
When you have a lot of them. You know, some of these guys have them where it's underneath the bike and it lights up, and I don't have that.
I've got some in my engine and underneath the frame and stuff. Yeah.
So you need some sort of additional thing. But I have a feeling it's that the LEDs can't take the power drain the way an incandescent bulb does. You know, an incandescent bulb.
They are more sensitive to power surges.
Yeah,
that could be the reason why the lights are doing this, and maybe I should replace most of them with just regular bulbs here. You know,
well,
pretty soon you won't be able to because the incandescents are going away.
Right. Yeah. Well,
the motorcycle batteries have very little.
Okay. But anyway, let me get back to what I was saying about customer support.
Yeah.
Amazon customer support used to be terrific. Okay, no problem. We'll send you a new one. Just send this one back. Blah, 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 blah. Now you get somebody in the Philippines who doesn't understand what you're saying. And I went through some hellacious Amazon calls this week, and I then had the same problem with Seagate. Seagate was even worse. You know, I was trying to get be able to return. In other words, I bought for my RAID unit. I bought a hard drive.
Drives. What do they call those? Enterprise drives.
Enterprise drive. And 3 of them out of the 4 have gone bad.
I don't know why.
2 of them I sent back to Amazon. And after a lot of fighting and kicking and screaming, well, I didn't have to kick and scream on that much, but they did return most of my money minus an $18 per drive restocking charge, something like that.
Weren't they under warranty?
Huh?
Weren't they under warranty?
Yeah, but they were some kind of restocking. I don't know what the thing was, because otherwise I would have had to go send them to Seagate.
Seagate.
So anyway, I decided on the 3rd one, because I found it, to call Seagate. And they said, call us back in a few days and we'll have an answer for you. And I called them back and they say, yes. Now, and then I had to do a whole thing like, I've got to return it, I've got to fill this out, I've got to do that. It wasn't like, just send it back to us and we'll send you another one. You know, it were all kinds of hoops I had to jump through. And the first couple of times I dealt with Seagate, I couldn't even understand the person I was talking to.
You know, it's the culture. You know why Macy's is almost bankrupt or is bankrupt, and Nordstrom's is flourishing?
Because if you didn't like something, you just took it back.
Right. And the same with Costco. You know, this is the kind of
Costco,
way you gotta
I don't
do
have
business.
any problem though. Costco, I don't have any problem. I've taken stuff back that was 3 years old and they took it.
Yeah.
You know.
Costco's been great, and Amazon was great, but now they're getting so large. There's people.
Here's the people I had to deal with. See, when I had to deal with Amazon, I can't remember what the issue was, but it had something to do with these it had to do with the graphics card, and I got one answer one day and it wasn't satisfactory. So I called the next day. I got a different answer. Okay. Yeah. In other words, there were no consistent answers here. But finally,
that's a training issue.
I sent it back. Then I had a problem with Amazon because I had one. I sent it back. They replaced it with another one. Okay. They sent it back. You know. Then I had to send that one back. Well, the other one was a replacement. There was zero charge on it. The other one was the one that I paid the money on, and blah, 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 blah. One thing led to another. I played hell getting my money back.
didn't Amazon fire customers a while back that were returning too much stuff?
No.
Do you
No.
remember? Yes, they actually canceled customers that were buying and returning. Not that you're doing anything that isn't on the up and up.
I was trying to get something that would work in my machine.
But Amazon has identified, it was like last year or a year and a half ago, they identified customers that were returning too much, and they blacklisted them.
Yeah, I don't think they've done that anymore. I mean, certainly over the last couple of weeks, they would have started blacklisting me because I've returned 2 hard drives and 2 graphics boards. But I'm just wondering if your RAID is burning out these drives, because I have a RAID, and I've got 5 drives in it, enterprise drives, and I've never had any. The green lights are always on. I've never had any issue with it. I had 3 go bad. Now, they all came at the same time, so they
Well, it
could
could have
all
been a
be
bad
the
batch.
same batch. Yeah. Only one of them is still there. Is the same one.
Yeah,
You know.
I ordered 2, then I ordered 3, and I didn't put them in until I had all 5.
Well, yes, Ray.
I used to work for NEC Information Systems, and I sold disk drives like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And you would get bad batches, and they'd all be DOA, dead on arrival, like a whole like pallet of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His ran for a while.
They ran
but
for a
there's
while.
like something wrong with, like if there's something wrong with a few in a batch, like there'll be the same thing will be wrong with all of them that were made at the same time.
And I bought all these at the same exact time, and they were all the same exact brand.
It doesn't happen as often as it used to years ago, but it still does.
Yeah,
sometimes.
but anyway, so
Yeah.
I mean, believe it or not, I put other brands in there and things that weren't even enterprise drives, and they're working flawlessly.
Yeah, I don't think that these things require that. I know the Drobo doesn't require that they be the same brand, although it's better if they are.
Why?
And same
Why?
size.
A hard drive's a hard drive.
Yeah, but I think that they mount better. What I read is that if they're all the same, it's better, but it's not necessary that they be the same brand or the same size.
Where is Ray going?
I don't know. He muted himself, and Ray, you're muted. And
I'm
you're
outside. I'm walking the dog. Sorry.
You're walking
Here,
the
I'll
dog.
give you some light. There.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm trying to. There. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I just wondered what happened to you. All of a sudden, it was
I'm here.
dark. So
And then-
when he
There's
takes
the dog.
when he takes a poop, let us watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dog. When we
And if I
walk her,
take a leak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when we walk my dog, because she has the stitches, she's got like a 5-inch incision in her belly, and so we have to we put her in a little pram carriage that we have, and roll her down to the park, and then we put her on the grass so that she doesn't have to walk that much. But she's doing pretty well right now. Recovering from the operation. It's the cancer that's going to, in the next month or 2, that is going to be the issue.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Well, you never know. Sometimes he's like my brother had a dog that was supposed to die just quickly, and he lived like 2 or 3 years. So
Well, that would be nice.
Did you get the dog from Amazon?
yeah, it's an Amazon.
Because
dog.
I'm an expert at this now. But all I'm saying is that I found the customer service at these companies has gotten really shitty. I mean, really
Amazon,
shitty.
for sure.
And I did finally, the other day, who was I talking to? I can't remember. It was somebody at American Express. And I wanted to get my rewards points reversed, okay? So I call, and it's this woman, and she got a southern accent, and she helps me with everything, and I think she reversed my rewards points within seconds. I mean, she said, let me do that for you. Clunk, 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 done. And I went, I've been dealing with hell all week. I've been talking to the Philippines, to Amazon. I've been talking to India for Seagate. Mexico for Seagate. I said, it's been a living hell. It's nice. Where are you located? She said, South Carolina. I said, oh, God, what a fucking pleasure. I said, and she was a pleasure to deal with. And that's what I'm saying. if you're a company, you want customer support to be good, and you want, because they're the face of your company to most people. You know, they're the person with your company they have to deal with. And when they hear somebody, this woman I had on for Amazon in the Philippines was horrible. She couldn't. She would ask me what my name was, and I would spell it, and then she'd spell it back to me and spell it all wrong.
You know what I would do?
Four
I
letters.
just put my girlfriend on and let him talk in Tagalog.
Yeah, but I'm saying though what was happening is she wasn't like everything I would tell her. My phone number, she would get it wrong. I'd have her repeat it back to me, and the numbers were all reversed. And I'm going, and then then I didn't hear anything. She said, you'll be getting an email from us on this. And I never got the email, so when I called, I finally got somebody who could speak English. And I said, this person was supposed to send me an email. I think maybe this was Seagate, I can't remember. And you never did. He said, oh, well, we have it down here as Alex at gabnet.com.
Oh,
Can you
what I hate
imagine that Alex,
when
they're
you
dealing
spell
with
your name and they say A is in apple,
Yeah.
B is
Yeah.
in boy.
Yeah.
Get the
Alex-
fucking thing right already.
Alex doesn't have an accent. Alex is a professional voice and sounds fantastic. Can you imagine if the woman in the Philippines was dealing with Tony, and the way Tony talks from Queens, you know, could you imagine the two of them trying to converse with one another rather than Alex, who pronounces everything phonetically correct? You know.
Anyway, enough of the tech talk. But this isn't tech talk. It's just that I just wish that these companies would realize that the main face of their company to most people is when they have to call customer support, and that customer support should be good and fast and accurate and get the stuff done.
Did Ray have his hand up, or was he?
No. I was wanted to see if my mic was on.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm having a problem at the store with phone calls. I'm getting all these robocalls, for Medicare and putting solar on your house and things like that. I am getting so many that I'm almost to the point where I'm not going to answer the phone anymore. If a customer calls, leave me a message. There's just too much spam out there. Robo killers.
Yeah, you've got that problem, but what the real problem is that a lot of these people are doing things highly illegal. I mean, they're saying we're from Social Security.
Right.
I'm sorry. That's
they don't call.
That's illegal. That's against the
they're
law.
probably from China, so it doesn't matter. You know.
Yeah. Or the Ukraine.
Yeah, I should be in jail right
Ukraine,
now.
yeah.
I've gone to jail about 7 times in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Face says
I'm a wanted criminal in about 4 different states right now.
Faye keeps saying
I'll tell
to
you
me,
where you
Social
also
Security's calling me. I'm in trouble.
where you also have your problem, folks out there, and you know it, is what is Facebook doing about people who are trolling, and saying, click here if you want. I just found a great video with you in it. Click here. And you click there, and all of a sudden, there go the lights again.
It's an ad.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's an ad.
No,
right?
It's not an ad. That's the way they get a virus into your computer.
Wow. And Facebook doesn't
I
filter
never
that
open, and like when you mail me stuff, half the time I don't open it. The reason I don't open it is I don't know you sent it to me.
Oh,
And
I
I
thought
have
you
had
didn't open
people-
it
I've
'cause I
had-
sent it to you.
I have had people send me stuff, and I wrote them and said, "Did you send me something?" And they went, "No."
Oh,
Yeah.
well, next time I'll put something
And yet,
in the
what does
captions.
what does Facebook do about
send you
this?
something.
Nothing.
Right.
They do nothing about it.
Well, what's this deal? They want Facebook to sell off Instagram and WhatsApp?
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Yeah. What's up?
What's up? I like what's up better. What's up?
Well, I mean, this is not uncommon. A few years ago, I think, didn't they try to get Microsoft to divest themselves of certain products?
Internet Explorer.
Yeah.
Oh, they were huge lawsuits like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was crazy. They were trying to get Microsoft to get rid of everything.
Yeah.
Except the Xbox. I
Well,
think.
what happens is you get companies, and they go into the business as a small little company, as Microsoft did, and one day they're a mega company, And they don't realize how big they've gotten because they're still doing business the same way they did it when they were a small company. And they didn't realize until the government came along and said antitrust that they had new responsibilities. So I don't blame companies when they suddenly one day realize that they're not, they're not that.
Do you know the business that I do business with that is the most professional is Berkshire Hathaway. They own a carpet company called Shaw Industries. And since they bought them, they are fabulous.
Well, Berkshire Hathaway is what's his name?
Is Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. Yeah.
If you have a problem, boom, it's taken care of. They don't ask questions. They fix it, and then they'll investigate and say, oh, well, if it wasn't their problem, we'll talk about it. But they take care of it immediately so that you have the best customer service you can have with your customers. I had a situation the other day where I ordered 4 boxes of shit for a bathroom. One of the boxes was.
I don't have to order 4 boxes of shit for the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, I did for this one.
I take and do enough of it myself that I don't have to buy shit.
I can send you
for
some shit.
The shit that was in one of the boxes was the wrong color, but it was labeled the right label. They wanted us to send it back before they would send us another one. I said, look, I got to get this job done. The film company's coming in to photograph the place for sale. Just send me a box overnight, and I'll deal with it. They wouldn't send me the box, even though I have open credit with them, and they could charge me. They wouldn't send it until I proved that the other box was wrong.
You know who still is very good once you're getting past the Tagalog-speaking operator is Amazon. For instance, when I said this board doesn't appear to be working in my computer, they immediately sent one before I ever sent the other one back. And in the case of the hard drives, when I went down to the UPS store, which is right down on the corner, and I gave them the box with the 2 hard drives in it, as soon as they scanned it, I got back and there was a thing saying your $156 has been returned to your account.
Well, I know you don't like Adorama, but they treat me the way Amazon used to treat you. If I have a problem with anything from Adorama, boom, it's taken care of.
Yeah, but Adorama is a small company.
They're in New York. They're down the street.
Yeah, they're a small company by comparison to Amazon. Yeah. Amazon has gotten so big. It used to be that you could there was a number you could call. There was a thing where you went online and you said, here's my problem. And you clicked on it and said, call me. They don't even have that anymore.
You used to be able to click on it, say, I want to return it. The drop-down box had the reason. You went down to the UPS store, you gave it to them, the label was there, boom, and it went back, and you had your money immediately.
They don't have that anymore?
It's in there, but you got to find it. You got to fish for it. It's in there.
Yeah.
I thought so, yeah.
But I haven't had to return anything to Amazon in a while.
Yeah. Well, I'm through.
I think you have to go into your order history.
I decided
dig it out.
I decided with this graphics board, if it didn't work, I was going to keep it. I didn't want to keep returning them. But luckily, the thing just, boom, fires right up. The only difference is that if you don't have a board that has been flashed by Apple.
What's the guy's name that just committed suicide in New York? The pedophile?
Epstein.
Epstein. So you got to be flashed by Epstein?
Yeah, no, but because it isn't a official Apple card and the iOS hasn't been flashed in there. It boots up to a black screen, so you don't know what's happening. Before you'd see a bar going across. This doesn't have the bar, but once it comes on, it comes on. It hasn't failed to not come on.
Do the instructions say, "Hey, wait a while after you boot it to see what's
No, but if you read the stuff online, it tells you that's what happens. You just don't see anything for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were aware of that. I mean, I
was aware of that, but when I had those old cards, they sat in there for a half hour and nothing booted up. This boots up in about 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
So therefore, the old cards were bad.
It wasn't that they were bad; they just didn't work. with this
Well, that's
system.
bad.
You know.
Well, they were good for something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I
Door
you know.
stops, frisbees.
So anyway, all that's happening with Trump and so on. I mean, for instance, Ray,
Yes.
you want to see him impeached? Do you think that's a useless exercise?
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Do you want to see him?
Trump.
Oh man. Oh, God, I don't know. You know, I mean, morally, like, here's the thing with me. I know every president does shit I don't like. I don't like some of the stuff Obama did, like bombing, you know, people and killing kids and stuff. It was horrible. What bugs me is he is dividing this country on purpose, and he's making us look terrible in the eyes of the rest of the world, which I think is more dangerous than everything else. So I guess on a moral stance, I'd like to see him be impeached to show that we don't want to put up with a president who does that kind of thing. But on the other hand, he may use it to garner votes, especially if he can get sympathy from all the Republicans.
What do you think, Kevin?
I don't know. I think it might be too late. I think if we did it a year ago, maybe. I'd like to, if I knew more about the fact that he's on the downhill, and we could almost ensure that he'd be knocked out in the election, I wouldn't worry about it. But I'm not so sure about that.
Well, if he gets reelected, there's plenty of time to impeach him.
Yeah, then you could go after him again.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what happened with
the other-
Nixon, because Nixon's thing started, I believe, if I remember right. I was just a kid, but it started just before he was reelected. But it was kind of like just like a story.
Well, it was a
And then
break-in.
it
It was the break-in at the Democratic committee at the Watergate.
But
Yeah,
he
I
wasn't
just-
linked to it yet. And then in his second term, he was.
He wasn't
I'm still worried
impeached.
about the
I know
whole
he wasn't
Democrat.
He
Because
wasn't
he resigned.
impeached, Phil, but he left
resigned.
office. He left office because they told him, if you don't leave office, we will impeach you. And
Exactly.
the
And the
Republic.
Republicans were behind him leaving office.
Yes.
It
Right.
was a majority of Republicans led by Barry Goldwater.
Yeah. Yeah. It
And
was
that's
a
what's going to be interesting to see how many of the Republicans end up jumping off this bandwagon that they're on, and if that happens, you know, because the whole thing could backfire on the Democrats. Big time.
Did you hear Tulsi Gabbard's interview on when she was asked about impeachment?
No, I
And
didn't.
she actually said, I am not with Pelosi on this, and she is bucking the trend and says that she does not want to see impeachment. She would rather have the people vote
to
in
begin
2020 and make the
with,
decision.
is Pelosi for impeachment?
And now she is.
Yeah,
No,
she is. Yeah.
I don't think she is.
Yeah.
She didn't say that.
Well, she said. Yes, she did.
No, she
Yeah.
said
Said-
she
yeah.
was for investigating the possibilities
That's right.
of impeachment.
Yeah.
And they said if there's nothing in the transcript, there's plenty of other stuff for us to do it on. That's what Pelosi said.
Well,
I'm pretty sure she turned the corner.
she
At
turned
least
the
a lot
corner
more than
in that
did.
she allowed them to go ahead and investigate the possibility
They
of
were
an
already
impeachment.
doing that.
This is another step beyond that, I think.
Yeah. Well, no, not really. This is more
Oh, no.
showmanship. It's more
okay.
showmanship because Nadler already made that announcement, and Pelosi. The only difference is Pelosi wasn't in agreement with Nadler on that issue, but now she is.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
I mean, I think the whole thing is a big charade. Honest, like I agree with you, Phil. I mean, for me, it's just Trump. To me, is just degrading the office and dividing the country. And I think we just need to get him out because of that.
But
Well,
don't
mean,
you
that's-
see
but
the
you're going to
Dems,
have
what they're doing?
you're going to have a chance.
No, I don't.
But
Yes, I do see
Ray,
the Dems. They're
you-
inept. I
Ray,
do. They're inept.
Ray,
Yeah.
we're a little more than a year away from the actual election.
I know.
We will
I
have
know.
the opportunity to throw him out of office then. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
And-
yeah, you're right.
You know, and I mean, if we're afraid of something, I suppose we want to go after him now. But I don't
Yeah.
think we should feel afraid of it. I think that the possibility is that he can be beaten if you get the right candidate. Okay.
You don't have the right candidate.
I don't know that we don't
that's
have.
the problem.
I don't know that we don't have the right candidate. I think
Joe Biden is toast.
Joe Biden isn't toast, but Joe Biden isn't the nominee.
No.
I think.
You know what bothers me though is Trump did lose by 3 million votes. So the electoral college is skewed in favor of the Republicans. So it could happen again. It could happen again. He could lose by 3 million votes again and still win.
Or he could lose by 3 million votes and lose. I mean, it depends on how the Democrats play their ground game. You know, the biggest problem that Hillary Clinton had was they didn't play a good ground game, and the Republicans did. I think this time,
and this could affect the ground game.
This could affect the ground game, exactly.
Hillary Clinton thought that she was destined to be the next president. She was listening to the polls, and she said, and everyone said right up until the night of the election that Trump had no chance of getting 270.
No, she knew that she was going to lose.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. Why did
Trump thought he was going to lose.
Why ahead of time did she cancel the fireworks that were supposed to take place? If she didn't feel she was going to lose.
Well, once things started coming in.
They were canceled a day beforehand.
Yeah.
They knew they were going to lose because they saw that, yes, the polls said she was going to win because technically she was the winner. I mean, if you were going, just let me finish. If you were going purely by the popular vote, but they weren't taking into consideration the Electoral College. And they weren't factoring that in, the pollsters, and saying, okay, yeah, she's going to win popular vote, but she's not going to win electoral vote. They didn't take that into consideration. And that's where they were wrong. They were right. She was the winner if you're going to talk about popular vote. Okay?
Popular vote doesn't win.
I don't care what you're saying, Phil. I'm saying that's the reason. That's the reason why the pollsters were saying that she was going, she was going to be the winner. It's because they were looking at the popular vote. They weren't looking at the electoral vote and how that could play itself out.
But when they have those guys on TV that are pressing the black screen, the screen, and they're saying, okay, this scenario gets them 240 electoral college votes. This one gets them 220. But there was no path to 270 prior to about 11 o'clock the night of the election. I was told a story by Pence's brother-in-law's. The brother-in-law is the guy I know, and he said.
By the way, you're frozen.
Oh, it wasn't until 11 o'clock that night that they found out that they were going to win.
Nobody knew who was going to win at that point. I mean, I assume the assumptions by the pollsters were correct. Okay, plain and simple.
There was only one of them, Quinnipiac, that I think had had Trump ahead.
Have you clicked yourself back on?
I did. Let me do it again. All right, is that better?
No, you're not coming on. No. You're
At the end of the day, the Democrats better figure out what they're going to do before the end of the year and get it over with, and then just get back to doing their campaign and get it over with.
Yeah. Hey, there's our theme song, by the way. We don't have a picture of Phil. Who knows why? Go figure, Phil.
Trump guys.
Oh, there you go. You're back again to say goodbye.
Yeah, it took like 4 clicks
to say goodbye. Yeah. Hey, listen. Small group, but a mighty one. Phil Meyer, thank you so much. Tony, welcome. Thank you for calling. Yes, Ray, nice to see you. You're in the dark, but it's okay. Is your dog taking a dump yet?
Politically too.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I don't think so. Yes, politically, I'm very much in the dark.
Yeah, and Kevin, of course, thank you so much for calling as well. I think that it would be nice if all of you gave a big wave goodbye, and I'll wave back at you. Okay, there we go. Okay, all righty. There we go. Okay. Let me see here. I've changed where I put my various things. There we go. I just canceled my Skype. So the next program can do it right after me. That would be Jack Bishop. He has a show called The Intersection, which is very good, and you should give it a call. It's next of most of the same GabNet. I'll be back again tomorrow night at right after Damian Chaplin does the exchange. He will be here until 10 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, I return to these very self-same GabNet airwaves. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. Bye-bye, everybody.